reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Hey everybody, Chris here from MMO Reporter. I'm here with Rick Heaton, who is with Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, working on Extra Life, their community manager. We actually have known each other for many, many years, all the way back to Lotro. You were one of our first interviews, not the first though.
I wasn't your first time?
No, it was our first interview, and we felt it was such a big deal. We got the guy who did Lotro Herald. Was our first ever interview on the podcast. But now on to other pursuits. You're with Extra Life now, and this is something that even before you were with Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, you were passionate about Extra Life. What is it about it that connected with you?
So really the first thing that connected with me was the fact that, you know, working at Turbine, I had a really great platform, a really great community. They were very active. They were very responsive to things. And I came to realize after the first year of doing it, when we raised $18,000 within the Lotro community, that, you know what, hey, this is a great platform. This is a great cause. And I have a tremendous community behind me that is just willing to allow me to embarrass myself. Because if you remember, I shaved the beard and I just really got engaged with that, and after the first year, it was like, you know what? I think if I have this ability to do this much good for kids, I probably should be doing that. And so the following 2 years, we raised $50,000, and last year we just finished raising $65,000. Which, thank you to everyone in the Lotro community. That is the most phenomenal thing. I never really imagined we'd break the 50 grand, but we shattered it. It was awesome.
And I remember when you were still at Turbine as well, you were invited out to one of the hospitals and got to visit to see what the work that you had put in and the fundraising that you had come up with through the community had accomplished. What was that experience like?
So that was great. That was actually right here in Boston. Carrie Damone, who's the program director at Boston Children's Hospital for Children's Miracle Network Hospitals and Extra Life, she invited me up and she said, would you like to see, you know, that first year what $18,000 means to the kids? And it was impactful is the word I use. When you get a list and a breakdown and you see that, you know, a neonatal diaper is 35 cents, right? And we're talking a diaper that looks like it would go on a Barbie doll. These things are tiny. You see neonatal blood pressure monitors that I had a hard time putting over my pinky because that's how small the arms of a newborn are. And you start to realize that, you know, that's $500 and this is $600. And then you start looking at other things, just treatments that can cost $5,000 for one treatment, and a child may need a course of 10 or 12. So I really left that experience thinking, you know what, we need to do more. We need to raise more money. And 2 years later, after having raised a total of over $130,000, I got the great opportunity to take on this task and be community manager for Extra Life specifically within Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. So now I get to talk to everybody here at PAX. We have a great guild here in Boston. We have 53 guilds throughout North America in some of our major cities. We're going to be adding more next year. It's like a little local chapter, and they're actually doing this. I'm just here talking to guys like you, but they're actually here signing new Extra Lifers up, and they have just as much passion as anybody I've ever seen for this program.
And it's something that a lot of people, as I talk to people who participate in Extra Life, most people have a story, whether it's their own children, like I do. I have you know, my kids were in neonatal intensive care and those sorts of things. But everybody has a brother or sister, a nephew, a niece, aunt or uncle who had, you know, a friend who had a reason for kids to go into the hospital, and there's that connection with everyone. That's a really powerful force to be in front of as it comes behind you.
So I'm kind of different in that I don't have that personal connection with a child of my own who had to go through this, or even a close family member. What I really found was powerful was when I started doing this with the Lotro community and realized that the way I was raised was, my father used to always tell me, if you have a voice and a platform, you're responsible for how you utilize it. And to me, that means you're responsible for doing good with it. So that was my connection. But in doing it, what I discovered was people who were donating to me would send me notes. They would send me private messages on forums or send me emails or contact me on Twitter and say, Rick, this is so amazing what you're doing. My son, my daughter, my niece, my nephew, me They would tell their own stories of having been in Children's Hospital. And it really got to a point where I kind of had to stop reading my emails because there was just this flood of emotion. But it's amazing to think that you're having an impact on people like that. It's a great feeling.
Now, for everyone out there who has participated or who is thinking of participating in Extra Life, you're actually a really, really great example of the way in which you ran your campaign, because it wasn't something that you started like most of us, and I'm guilty of this, a month, 2 months before you start planning, oh, what am I going to do for that day? Maybe, okay, I'll sign up, and then I'll start to slowly put stuff out, and then the last week there's the big push. Oh, everybody come on. So you had a lot of success. Can you go over how you had so much success?
So I basically started looking at everything from almost a Kickstarter kind of point of view. It's like, if I do this much in fundraising, if I raise $1,000 and you've done at least $5 or $10 or $20, I'll do this thing, or I'll do a drawing for this other thing, and really just sort of looked at it like that. Here's a set of goals and achievements, and as long as you have contributed within a certain level, you'll get whatever it is. And that really resonated, and it really took off, and it really, obviously with the money that was raised, just kind of exploded. And what I realized was, the earlier you start, the more money you end up raising. So a lot of people, and we kind of look at it like a graph, a lot of people start a month out and they get here, right, by Extra Life, and then it kind of tapers off. But if you start 8 months out, you get here, and then you go down the rest of the month. So the earlier you start, the more money you're going to raise, just simply because you have more time to do it. And we actually looked at that as an organization this year, and I call it Extra Life 365, and it's a really simple premise. We have over 11 million children that receive help and care from us, and they need it every day, not just one day. So if you can do something every day to raise $10, that's huge.
Well, I'm going to say right now, when we get back home this week, we're going to start up our campaign for MMO reporters. So we don't know what we're going to do yet, but that shouldn't stop us. That shouldn't mean, just because we don't know what event we're going to have, doesn't mean that we can't start planning now and we can't start helping kids right now. So that's what we're going to start this week.
Sounds good. In fact, you can just set up your page. Go to extra-life.org, sign up, set up your page, and even just put on there, it's like, hey guys, we don't know what we're going to do yet, but this is where we're going to do it, and this is where we're going to tell you about it. And since you're here reading this, if you click that support button, you can help us fundraise right now.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time, Rick. I know it's always busy here at PAX. It's always fun to chat with you, and I hope that this is another record-breaking year for Extra Life.
I predict it will be. Last year, our final numbers just came in. We've been talking about 6 million. We actually raised just a touch over 6.2 million for 2014, and we are looking to do an even bigger number this year. $14 million have been raised since Extra Life started in 2008. So that's a very short period of time to raise an awful lot of money, but there's an awful lot more need out there.
And I also highly recommend that everybody goes out to the Extra Life site, take a look at the backstory about the connection, how this started, how Doc got things going, because it is a really powerful story. I'll warn you though, you might want to have Kleenex nearby. It is definitely a cool story. Thanks again for your time, Rick, and good luck this year.
Thank you so much, and thanks to all of you, and please go to Extra Life and sign up. We really appreciate all the help.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.